Would you like to quickly gear up into Burning Crusade pre-patch? Well, then look no further, as this guide will be working for both factions. The quickest way to gear up a fresh level 60 character is to start signing up for Battlegrounds, especially Altwick Valley, for quick honor. The reason being that in the pre-patch we can no longer rank up, so all the level 60 epic PvP items can be purchased just by farming honor and BG marks. And yes, there will be something for every single role in the game. Healers, spellcasters, ranged DPS and tanks. Not only can we buy weapons, there will be different armor sets as well, but the price I'm showing in this video could be different today, as Blizzard is constantly changing the prices. No matter what, it is a quick and efficient way to gear up to get ready for raids. Whenever you're waiting for a Battleground invite, then you could be heading to the auction house and buy yourself a class book. These are not that expensive, and all you gotta do is to head to Diremaul to hand them in and claim yourself a class-specific trinket. You will most likely be heading to Diremaul for other things, so it is just a great and cheap way to get yourself a new upgrade. One thing to be aware of is that these trinkets are unique, so you can only equip one at a time. Those of you playing a spellcaster could be buying the Bloodvine Set. It is amazing as it's providing useful stats, and no, you don't need to be a tailor to equip them, you just need tailoring if you wish to get the set bonus. Those of you playing a melee DPS or hunter could instead be buying the Devilsaur leggings and gauntlets. These are not level 60, but are rather decent at max level. Another thing to be aware of is that you will be getting the set bonus no matter what, and we can use these while leveling in the pre-patch. What about the cheap tier 1 pieces? Well, those will definitely help you get into raids a lot quicker, but if you're buying these items to increase your leveling speed in Outland, then it might honestly not be worth it. Many starter quests in Hellfire and Sanghamars will reward way better loot compared to tier 1 items. What about buying the expensive epic items that are way better? Well, remember, we can just head into Battlegrounds and get some items pretty much equal to those, and these items can be collected just by farming honor and BG marks. This allows us to keep a lot of our gold for the Burning Crusade, and in this expansion there will be plenty of things to buy, for example our flying skill and mount. That being said, the level 60 epic items is of course a good investment if you wish to head into Blackwing Lair, AQ or Naxxramas as quickly as possible, because in those raids you can obtain epic items that will easily last all the way up to level 70. However, as a hunter you shouldn't be buying the rare epic guns, at least not if they're way too expensive. What we can do instead is to head to Silithus and pick up a wanted quest. All you gotta do is to kill an elite and you will get yourself a new ranged weapon, or you could just be heading into Battlegrounds. Nonetheless, there are many different quests you could be doing in the open world to quickly get some gear, such as a quest that takes place in Fellwood and Winterspring where we can get ourselves a new trinket, and this is great to combine together with the Diremaul trinket we obtained earlier in the video. To get this trinket, you gotta do a longer quest chain. It starts here in Winterspring, where we gotta kill these creatures until we loot an item starting a quest, the empty firewater flask. This is being handed in nearby, a bit more to the south. The follow-up is called Falling to Corruption, and you gotta head to Fellwood to find an object at the northeastern part of the zone. The moment you have clicked on this object, you complete it, and you will receive another thing you gotta hand in back to the NPC in Winterspring. Pick up Toxic Horrors and head to Fellwood to slay the Toxic Horrors until you have looted a total of 3 of these items. These we hand in to the dwarf in Winterspring, and next we gotta find some enemies in the zone. Those are patrolling on the marked route, but be aware they have a rather long respawn rate. The moment you have looted the crate, you're ready to head back to the dwarf, and then there's going to be another follow-up that takes place at the eastern part of the zone. Here there will be an elite, and you gotta slay it for the current quest we're doing. But when you slay this elite, it drops an item starting a quest, or well, it only drops this item if you have already done all the pre-quests I just mentioned. This item we hand into the dwarf in Winterspring, and then we are being told to find a night elf in the southern part of Fellwood. Once you have found him, you can claim yourself your new trinket. It isn't a bad decision to do Stratholme, Scholomance or Diremaul, as you can get some decent rare items useful for tier 1 or 2 raiding. But if you're doing the dungeons to get yourself a new weapon, then it is better to do PvP and get yourself a High Warlord or Grand Marshal epic weapon. Anyway, back to dungeon farming. You should be doing Lower Blackrock Spire. As Alliance we can kill the final boss and loot an item starting a quest. As Horde it is a bit different. You will first need to head to Badlands and find this tower. On top of the tower there's an orc you gotta speak to and listen to everything he has to say. The moment this has been done, you receive an item starting a quest, and this will be for Lower Blackrock Spire. we gotta slay some elites and loot an item in Lower Blackrock Spire. Once this has been done, you can head back to the NPC in Badlands and claim your reward. There will then be a follow-up, and this takes place in Okuma. We gotta find an NPC and listen to his story. This is found at the same location as you find Thrall. Then you head to Thrall to hand it in, and there will be a follow-up for a raid, a 10-man raid, Upper Blackrock Spire. It is a bit easier as Alliance. We loot the letter in Lower Blackrock Spire, and then we head to this camp in Burning Steps, hand in the letter, and pick up the follow-up for Upper Blackrock Spire. Both factions are now on the same step. All you gotta do is to slay the final boss in Upper Blackrock Spire, and then we can claim ourselves a new trinket. Alliance gotta head to Burning Steps, and Horde to Okuma. Next, you're ready to do Zul'Gurub, the 20-man raid in Stranglethorn. But before you head into the raid, make sure to go to this island in Stranglethorn. On the island, there will be plenty of quests to pick up, some rewarding rare items, others epics. The first to pick up here tells you to collect 5 Channeler's heads. Those are collected from slaying the different troll bosses in the raid. What about those quests rewarding epics? Well, to complete those, you will need to head into the raid and get yourself different tokens. Besides getting these tokens, then you will need to get reputation with Sandalari tribe. This is being done by slaying creatures and bosses in the raid. Yet another reason for farming Sandalari tribe reputation is because there's a neck you can obtain by default. This neck we can continue to upgrade all the way up to Exalted, and at Exalted it ends up being epic quality. A great way to quickly get reputation with the faction is just to buy beet juice on the auction house. These you can destroy at an altar on the island, and this rewards you with reputation and an item you can destroy to get even more reputation. The good thing is that Zul'Gurub only has a 3 days reset, so you might have plenty of time to be doing a couple of runs before the end of the pre-patch and get yourself tokens, reputations, rares, and epics. The final boss in the raid are always dropping epics, and some of those weapons are honestly not too bad. Not to mention that you can get an item starting a quest, but only one raid member will be able to do this at a time. You can choose a tank trinket, one for spellcasters and healers, and one for melee DPS and hunters. Before you hand in those quests, then remember they're honestly rewarding a lot of experience in the Burning Crusade, and it's the same case with many dungeon and raid quests. Exactly why I'll be keeping those on my main character so I can hand them in to get ahead of the competition. Before I share my next gearing trick, then I would like to highlight that I've already made a video where I talk about the different quests I'm currently preparing. In fact, there's an add-on making it a lot easier for you to follow each individual step. Both of these things will be left in the description, but the add-on is a paid project that includes a 1 to 70 leveling guide, reputation farms, and other useful things. At this point, I would start doing Ankarai in Silphus. There's a 20 and a 40-man raid version. The 40-man version might not be doable yet, unless you're getting carried by guild, but the 20-man version shouldn't be underestimated. There are many different rare and epic items to be obtained. Not just rare items, but rare and epic tokens as well that you can exchange into gear. The final boss dropping an item starting a quest, and only one raid member will be able to loot it. The reward being a neck for spellcasters, melee DPS, healers, and tanks. And those necks will most likely last all the way up to around 67 or 68 in the Burning Crusade. What about the different tokens? Well, you will need materials and reputation with Cenarian Circle. There are many different ways to farm reputation with Cenarian Circle. You can either do AQ20, quest in Silphus, or a repeatable quest in Silphus. This is done by handing in Twilight text, and those we can buy on the auction house. The other materials can be bought on the auction house beside the tokens, and the moment you have got all of those, you can exchange them into new epics. Remember, it will be rather expensive to increase your reputation this way, and it might not be worth it unless you plan to head into AQ40, Blackwing Lair, and Extremis. And in those raids, you gotta make sure you're getting upgrades that will help you level in the Burning Crusade. Else you have just wasted time and a lot of gold and got no new upgrades. One thing that won't be a waste of time is to check out my other Burning Crusade guides and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time I post a new video, because soon I'll be publishing many more you definitely don't want to miss. As always, thanks you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Peace.